Good morning, everybody. Delighted to see such a large attendance for the third annual Harnessing Our Ocean Wealth and annual conference. Today we have a packed programme, and it is my great pleasure, coming back as I am to my alma mater, to introduce the President of NUIG, Dr. Jim Brown.
Garmagad Peter, Ari Creed, Nocton agus Cain, Aina, Accordia agus Colacca, while her Medus, Falchus Vehicoro of Galer, Gugian, Oscalair and Gallia Veran Law, Resunt the Masho, agus Garmagi Asak Shanta Horton, couple of Fokler Olive, Egan Kodal, Fear Hawak agus Sunt Sakshaw. So good morning, ministers, President of the Chamber of Commerce, guests, colleagues and friends. You're all welcome to Galway and to NUI Galway on this relatively reasonably fine West of Ireland summer's morning. I'm delighted that we are hosting your Ocean Wealth Conference, which of course is part of the Seafest programme, and you're all very welcome to Galway and to the university. This conference addresses two very important themes which are fundamentally important to this university. Clearly, the key theme is marine research and scholarship, but associated with that and arising from that is also the notion of innovation and entrepreneurship. And both of those are very important to this university. We are located on the western edge of the Atlantic, and our university has been engaged in marine science right from the very beginning. We go back to the middle of the 19th century when we were formed here as Queen's College Galway in the middle of the Great Famine in the 1840s. And if you have time in the next couple of days, I would invite you to take a look at some of the interesting exhibits in this university. There's a very fine Zoology Museum here in the building beside us, in the Martin Ryan building beside us, which houses a very interesting collection of 19th century marine biology specimens and artefacts. Also a Mitchell Museum in the Quadrangle, which presents a very fine set of fossils and ores, and essentially a museum dedicated to earth and ocean science. Each of those might be of interest to you. But in general terms, whether it's engineering or geology, whether it's economics or zoology, generations of students and researchers have had access to what is a fundamentally important laboratory on our doorstep, the Atlantic Ocean. We have a long tradition of scholarship here in that space. Scholar activists such as the late Maureen De Valera, Emer Collern, renowned zoologists, people like Brendan Keegan, August Untitled Chapter, Gunina Geogrosser Adam Dealish, who for many years, and sometimes against the odds, promoted the tremendous importance of marine to Ireland and to our Irish higher education. I think they set in Galway, they set out a direction for us in marine science, which we continue to try to follow. In more recent times, one of arguably Ireland's most important entrepreneurs, the late Tony Ryan, got on board with this university. Many of you will remember what was arguably the single most important philanthropic donation to an Irish university in the early 90s, of the gift that Tony Ryan made to this university to establish the Ryan Institute here, and that very fine building which you would have passed on the way in is a tribute and a legacy of his philanthropy to this university, a legacy of £5 million in the early 1990s for the university. That gave rise to a landmark building, the Martin Ryan building, which was opened, in fact, by the European Commissioner of the day, Bruce Millen, in 1994. And in the decades since then, the 2 decades since that time, our university has made great use of those facilities, and we have made great use of the gift that Tony Ryan made to the institution. We have prioritised work in the area of environment, energy and marine as one of our key strategic areas in the university. We have sought and won further funding to advance that, the government's programme for research in third level, which made a lot of money available for infrastructure. We used that to get to win a major grant of €10 million in the late 1990s, early 2000s, for further support for the marine area, to bring in new staff, new researchers, to put in place new facilities, an annex to the MRI building, to revamp the facilities in Carna and in Macehead. And all of that has led to some tremendous success and indeed the recasting of our research effort by another EU Commissioner, Maura Geoghegan-Quinn, in 2012, when she came here to formally launch the revamped and refocused Ryan Institute with a clear focus on, as I say, marine, environmental and energy research. That institute now has approximately 100 academic researchers and over 200 postgraduate and postdoctoral researchers. And these researchers work across a wide range of areas focused on the marine environmental area. They are supported by development staff, by operations staff and by technical staff, and led by Professor Colin Brown and two of his colleagues as Deputy Directors, Professor Mark Johnson and Professor Mike Hartnett. Over time, they have developed a very high capacity in areas of environmental, marine and energy research. They have led in the university out in terms of interdisciplinary research right across all of our colleges in this space. They promote collaborative research with other national and international bodies, agencies and universities. They have also, very importantly, fostered relationship and interaction with policymakers, with government agencies, regulatory authorities and other agencies. They have encouraged interaction with industry, and arguably most importantly of all, they have educated a generation of students and graduates who have gone on to make a difference in our society in terms of the marine sector. Their emphasis in recent years has moved towards climate change, towards ecology, towards terrestrial and marine systems. They have sought to develop innovative bioenergy and energy-efficient technologies. They have been engaged in research in aquaculture, in fisheries, offshore renewables and biodiscovery. They have also developed technologies to support the monitoring, the modelling and most of all the mitigation of environmental pressures. And again, from a policy point of view, they have provided the evidence base to try to guide the development of appropriate socio-economic policy in this space. They work in a diverse range of areas, and they also try to ensure that this interdisciplinarity extends not beyond the science into the economic area, and we have done quite a bit of work to try to encourage our economists to engage with the sector and to ensure that the results of the research have economic impact. I said a second part of the university's contribution to this space is an emphasis on entrepreneurship. And I know that while this festival and this conference is interested in marine research, I know you also recognise that we as a country must capitalise on that research and we must capitalise on the unique advantage that we have as an island to drive a marine economy. I would say that entrepreneurship and innovation are core to what this university is about. And as our research grows, the imperative, which is to harness that knowledge to create societal impact, to create academic impact, to create, most of all, economic impact, is even more pressing. And in recent years, the university has made important strides to develop that culture of entrepreneurship and innovation in the university. I'll point out one or two examples to illustrate what is possible. This university has created something called Bio-Innovate Ireland, modelled on a programme called Biodesign in Stanford University in California, a programme designed to create the next generation of entrepreneurs in the medical devices area. That's an extremely successful programme which has created a stream of start-up companies, some of which I'm sure will go on to become world leaders in what they're doing. They are producing skilled graduates who have the capacity to translate the science that they understand and know into commercial products. Similarly, a more recent innovation in the digital area is Technovate, associated with the Porter shed in the docks area. And that's, again, a team-based programme supporting young entrepreneurs to create industry and create companies in the digital space, tech entrepreneurs. In the last year, we've launched a programme called the Blackstone Launchpad, funded by the Blackstone Charitable Foundation. That's the first of its kind outside the United States. It brings together Trinity College Dublin, UCC and NUI Galway into a partnership funded by over €3 million from the Blackstone Corporation to encourage young people, young undergraduates particularly, to work together to develop new ideas and to explore entrepreneurship as a potential career option. All of these speak to our commitment to entrepreneurship. And coming back to the marine space, again the Ryan family, and they have endowed in the university an award, the Ryan Award for Innovation. They've done that for the past 3 years to recognise emerging ideas in the university which have the capacity to develop into entrepreneurial activities and into companies. That award, €25,000 per year, is available particularly for projects in the environmental, marine and energy area. And I think it's a very generous statement by the Ryan family of their commitment to entrepreneurship and their continued commitment to this university in terms of promoting entrepreneurship in an area which is of vital interest to us. You know, Tony Ryan inspired a whole generation of entrepreneurs in this country. Think of people like Donald Slattery in the aviation industry, people like Dennis O'Brien, people like Michael O'Leary, and the contribution that they have made to our country. And it's tremendous that they continue, that legacy continues here as they encourage young people to develop, if you like, their science and their scholarship and their learning into potential opportunities for new businesses and new companies, and that they do that particularly in an area which was very close to the Ryan family's heart, namely the marine area. It would be interesting to see if that could be, if the ideas I've talked about here in terms of the Bio-Innovate programme, the Tech Innovate programme, could be extended to the marine sector. And in recent days, literally, we have, with our colleagues in GMIT, have submitted an application to Enterprise Ireland for a new activity in marine entrepreneurship, in marine innovation, to try to extend those ideas beyond the medtech and IT industries into the marine space. And I certainly look forward to some success in that space and to coming back in the future to see in this university a similar initiative in the marine area to what we have in the medtech and IT space. I also want to recognise, as I've said, the importance of translating science into business. And in that context, this university is fortunate that we have colleagues here led by Stephen Hines in the Socioeconomic Marine Research Unit who focus exclusively on helping our scientists and engineers to see the business opportunity and see the potential economic impact of the work that they are doing. That understanding of the translation process is so important to the realisation of our shared goal of creating business from the wonderful resource that is the marine here. I go back to the point about graduates, and I always say that the ultimate output of a university are highly trained graduates, and I think all of our efforts here, in many cases driven by research, are all about producing people who have the capacity to shape their own future and have the capacity to remodel our economy and ensure that our society benefits fully from it. So, maybe to conclude, to say to you that we are delighted that you are here, that we are delighted that the Marine Institute has chosen to work with us in this area. We have a continuing cooperation with Peter and his colleagues in the Marine Institute. It's been a cooperation which is very productive for us. We work with them to try to, if you like, convince young people to see the marine as a future. And in that context, I should mention a project which has been developed between the university and the Galway City Museum, a project called Sea Science, created by the Ryan Institute, where we try to, if you like, encourage young people, school children, to look at the sea and look at the marine as a way of developing a career for themselves. Indeed, today we will launch an app, an iPhone app called Sea Science, which is oriented to getting that message out to even more young people, to see that, so they would hopefully see the seas and the marine environment as not just a possibility for recreation and fun, but also as a possibility for a career and a possibility of real relevance to them into the future. Because fundamentally, these young people are the real secret to harnessing our ocean wealth. So with those few words, can I again welcome you to Galway, wish you an enjoyable and successful conference today, and hope that you enjoy the environment of this very fine city, this very fine university. Gramina Magi, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim, and it is a great pleasure for me, Peter Heffernan, on behalf of the Marine Coordination Group, to guide us through this morning's events. And if I may pick up on one or two themes that Jim mentioned there, inspiring the young. In your conference packs, you will get some information on why the beautiful painting on your canvas bag is as it is, inspired by the themes of today's conference, and also who produced it for you. We reached out to local primary schools in an effort to inspire them about our proceedings and our work collectively. And in your pack, there's an opportunity for you to send a little note back to the school and the school class who produced that. And I believe there are prizes and recognition involved for the classes themselves. And also I want to fill you in that today is but one day of a 4-day National Maritime Festival. Yesterday there were 700 delegates at 4 parallel events right throughout the city of Galway. And you could feel a palpable energy and buzz last night at the Maritime Awards. And again, I want to reiterate our congratulations to everybody nominated, and there were several from NUIG nominated, and indeed winners from NUIG. And I'd like to a bull of us for everybody who won last night, please. And I was getting very wise words from a very wise man, the chairman of BIM, last night about the importance of the next generation. So I hope we're starting to put into life that very wise counsel I got last night in a very enjoyable dinner. We're going to get proceedings underway now, but we're not going to go straight into ministerial speeches. We're going to take you out into Galway Bay in a different way on a historic occasion today when something unique in the Atlantic Ocean is going to be activated by a very special magic device right here, which you will share in for the first time publicly. This initiative, the Smartbay Underwater Observatory, has a long gestation. Tom Boland and the PRTLI programme operated by the Higher Education Authority way back in the noughties made an award to create a smart bay. But the crisis happened just about the same time, so half the award materialised. So there was a smart bay that was designed to utilise a cabled observatory, but there was no money for the cabled observatory. A very Irish situation. But in a very Irish way, we found a solution through the back door and the side door and the left door and the right door and several ministries and several funding agencies, and all of whom are here today. So we're arriving at the point where we've emerged not only economically from a crisis, but now we're figuratively and in reality and in real-time observation sense emerging from a crisis and into a brighter future, a future where we can start to see into the ocean in a way that we take for granted, seeing the land from space. And that is part of our quest. But I'm just going to roll, I hope, a short introductory video. Later, I will be inviting Minister Creed, in the presence of Ministers Naughton and Kine, to press the special button. But let's have an introduction first.
If you look at Ireland, the maximum discharge of energy from the Atlantic Ocean is on the west coast of Ireland and the west coast of Scotland. That's just a geographical fact. Harnessing that energy requires commercial development of the devices. It requires ways of bringing that energy on shore or utilising it offshore. It requires understanding the maintenance of those devices. So there's a lot of work to go in to try and harness this energy. But in terms of a unique selling point, Ireland is in a great place.
We've never done this type of work before, so basically we had to rent all the cable lay equipment from the UK. So we had to rent a large power pack, a cable engine that actually pushes the cable out over the stern of the boat, another piece of equipment there for loading the cable. We had to construct a lot of the equipment from scratch because we just couldn't find it in Ireland. So there's been about 30 people involved in making all this, putting all this equipment together, in about 2 or 3 months of planning. The cable itself came from the US, so that's been shipped, been prepared over the last year or so. So there's been a lot of different people from different places coming together to put this together.
development at the site now is going to be the deployment of a hydrophone. That deployment will allow us in real time to listen in to what is going on at that site. So not only can we monitor the biological activity of whales and dolphins at the site, but we'll also get information on noise. In Ireland and across the EU, noise is classified as a pollutant under the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, so we have to maintain favourable habitats for these species, and that kind of access to new technology will allow us to aim towards that.
In the recent days, in the last 24 hours, the programme has gone ahead of schedule. We've been blessed with the weather. Overall, very happy with it. We're now into the fine-tuning phase, just making sure that all the connectors are working as they should be. And by the end of today, all being well, we should be finished.
So now it's my great pleasure to nervously invite the Minister to the stage to hope the technology is going to deliver. Minister Greed.
Dennis Naughton has assured me the technology works.
This is live, this is real, this is 20 metres deep, 5 kilometres approximately off Spittal Pier. This is the first cabled observatory contribution from the European Union to the North Atlantic. I think that deserves a bull of us. And now a short clip to explain it to you.